All right, many thanks for joining us right here on the Weekend Focus, today being the third day of National Mourning. And of course, we've laid to rest the former Chief General, that is Ogolla. And of course, tonight I'm joined by one Pius Masai Mwachi, who is the former acting director of the National Disaster Management Kenya. And of course, he has so many titles, and he had a chance to really work closely with the late. We'll be talking matters on what next for the country. And of course, maybe Pius, if you can hear me loud and clear from wherever you're joining us from, we are coming to you live from Amboseli Gardens, Lavington, Nairobi. I'd like to share your comments and your thoughts on the current state of the country matters of the late Chief of Defense Forces.
Thank you very much, studio. Actually, it's unfortunate that there's a technical hitch out about the video, but I'm able to hear you. The late General Francis Ogolla, Chief of the Defense Forces of Kenya, it's unfortunate that we've lost a very brilliant and gallant officer at the time he is needed most. And I first of all say that I myself, my family, and members of my consortium PMAC International and members of my other initiatives that I lead, we say that we are joining the President of Kenya and other Kenyans and family members in mourning the hero.
To interact actually, with him,
the hero, the late General Francis Ogolla, has been eulogized in many ways, and will not fall short of just adding value and appreciating him in posthumous that the general was a professional, more professional officer, in that him being a general, he did not take himself as just a general, but he was so more professional in extending his leadership as a general to the Kenya Defense Forces members and also members of other discipline forces and other forces globally, in that he created a good working relationship between the Kenya Defense Forces and all stakeholders. And indeed, him being professional, he was a general for everything in terms of humanity, a general in terms of professionalism, a general in terms of climate change issues, and for so he was only complimenting the other generals, former generals that he followed, because I am happy that I've had an opportunity of serving in more than 8 generals. With my service in the National Police Service, I was able to serve under Jackson Kimeu Mlinge, General Mohammed, General David Tonje, General Joseph Kibwana, General Jeremiah Kianga, General Julius Karanja, General Julius Karangi, General Samson Mwatete, General Robert Kiboji, and then himself, General Francis Ogolla, who did more complimenting his predecessor. And I'm able to say that I had an opportunity working with him, with the other general that I've mentioned, in the military. I, having served the National Police Service of over 36 years, I had opportunity also being a member of international training officer in international Center Karen International Humanitarian Peace Support School in Mbakazi, whereby I had an opportunity to interact with the late general and former generals, whereby they created an opportunity of bringing inclusion of matters of safety and security, the National Police Service, the prison service, the civilian components in training together, enhancing cooperation and coordination. And indeed, the general is a person to be remembered for many, many things as a peace-loving person. He loves his country, he loved peace, and he was generous. He was so generous in that he did not want to forget the community. He served as a community leader. And indeed, it has been demonstrated by the people of Siaya, where he was born, whereby he has been able to do for the community. He was a husband and a family member, whereby he loves his family, and he demonstrated good leadership for his children and Mama Eileen Ogolla. And you are still aware that the general was too generous. He loved his junior officers, whereby he participated in a lot of sporting activities, appreciating his officers, senior and junior. And as also you have heard, he was so fearless, and he had what we call good servant leadership. In the servant leadership, he never feared enemies. He was able to do his work without fear, ensuring that he serves the public with a lot of professionalism, encouraging teamwork, cooperation, coordination, and collaboration of other stakeholders, even the civilian. And he knew that life is very, very short, whereby he talked about it through his preachers, by preaching, by advices, and also commenting through different forums that life is short, and therefore there is need for everyone to do his best in serving the communities. And he did it as a good example to us. The general, he complimented work which was started by all former generals, especially the general that he succeeded, General Robert Kibochi. He just enhanced more dealing with work which was started by others, including dealing with areas of operations, dealing with planetary activities, where that on visit and performance of the duties that he had gone to do, he lost his life. He never feared. Instead of him even sending his juniors, he went by himself. And he believed that the community in the operation areas like Baringo, the women and men, children, they needed peace. And that's why even himself, instead of even sending the other people, he went there personally to ensure that children had an opportunity to get finished classrooms, and also get opportunity to take their children to school. And that's why he took the responsibility himself, not sending even other people, but going there personally to inspect the projects. We appreciate his good work. And also, he was courageous in dealing with enemies like the bandits and other enemies of Kenya. And actually, we remember the general for many, many years, in that whatever he was for, I believe whoever is going to succeed him has a huge mountain, an elephant in the house, to continue ensuring that whatever he started, it continues as planned for the benefit of the communities in Kenya, the people of Kenya, and the people of Kenya, and for the global peace. Hello? Hello?
Hello, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, I would like now to talk about more issues
Right.
of
Now,
the
thank you so much for sharing that
attaining.
with us. And of course, just from the current controversies about the bombers of Kenya, we are told that there have been a mix-up and a lot of arguments about the late Chief of Defense Forces, that is Ogolla, went to the bombers of Kenya during the 2022 general elections to alter the results. From where you sit, what are your thoughts on that? And knowing him as a person on a personal level, what are your thoughts on that?
I know the general on a personal level, and also through professionalism. I know his family very, very well. And indeed, I was also, I'm a former senior police officer and a former acting director of the National Disaster Management Unit, Kenya.
Great.
And during the 22 general election, I was also dominating in the bombers of Kenya and many other areas as international election observer, where I deployed observers in all regions, counties, and also in bombers of Kenya, where I was a VVIP, and I was always working closely with the commissioners, the chairperson of election, Chepkati, and I was able to see all activities as an observer. Even if the time that people are running out of bombers of Kenya because of the issues that you saw during the declaration of the winner of the presidential election, I was there and I didn't run away. And whatever was happening, even that whatever is the general is being accused that he went to bombers, actually, according to the a lot of information that said in the public domain, even the president, Dr. William RUTO, His Excellency Dr. William RUTO has talked about it. Many people have talked about it. Indeed, there is a public information in the public that the late general confessed indeed he was in bombers of Kenya and he did not influence anything. And what I know, being an officer junior at that time and also an officer that was sent to perform his responsibility, he went to bombers, of course, as said, but he never interfered, because if he wanted to do that, he was still in the government and the government had all the machineries. The present government at that time had the machineries to do all that it wanted to tamper with the elections, but indeed, he never tampered with the elections. Going to bombers, he was in bombers, as said, but it did not actually do the interferences. And what I've seen also in the communication, I've heard even the president saying himself, the current president, that there was a communication and there was an interview between him and the late general discussing about the same. He confessed he was in bombers, he got information, and as a junior officer, he right there, but he never interfered. If he did interfere with that, then His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto could not have risen to the level that he is as the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Kenya, because the general didn't do anything beyond what his professionalism could tell him to do. And I really trust the general and I admire the general. Despite that he had all the machineries, he didn't interfere. Going to bombers of Kenya not mean he interfered. Of course, he might have
maybe from where you sit, do you think maybe the late general could have made some involvement in the election, in as much as we are talking about the 2022 general elections being interfered with him, and with many allegations saying that he was not in the space? From where you sit and knowing him on a personal level, do you think maybe the late CDF could have been involved in something to do with having differences with the president?
No, there's nothing of that nature. You know, when something happens of this nature, and because of a lot of information in social media that I've also seen and witnessing, I just want to appeal to the Kenyan people to be calm, to allow further investigation into the crash, because this crash is not a simple crash, and it's not just there's a number of issues that we are looking at. And I'm happy that there is a committee that has been established to do investigation. Let us remain let us just be alert and allow the committee that has been appointed to do investigation, and let us support the committee by any information. If we have any Kenyan, any person, any source with any information contrary to what we know, let that person bring that information clear. Because it will be wrong for people sitting on information that we don't know, and then creating a lot of anxiety, questions, and also a lot of issues which they cannot even go and substantiate and even write a statement as per any information given. Because what I know, this incident and accident occurred at a time that is not expected.
Great.
And what investigators, I would like investigators to look into the following.
Okay.
To investigate the proper cause of the accident and incident. The airworthiness of the chopper.
Okay, thank you so much for that. We do really hope when the investigations come up, we'll be having really some good information to really know what exactly happened. And now, just cutting short, and maybe you could tell us about being a former disaster management officer in Kenya, maybe talk lightly about the ongoing floods in the country, and especially that has affected most of the counties right here, even in Nairobi. Maybe you could talk to us about that, and maybe what the department means about that, and then you could give us your parting shot.
But if you would allow me to mention a few things that I need Kenyans not to be looked into that investigation, I would be very happy. Can you allow me, please?
All right, now maybe you could just give us your final remarks on what you think all about the trending topic on that, the final salute of the Cdf Ogolla and the current floods in Nairobi. You've been a disaster management for quite a long time.
Actually, let me just keep that, and I would like to say that for the investigators, let the public be calm and give the investigators time to look into various issues in terms of the worthiness of the aircraft, the issue of the service and the age of the aircraft, an intelligence report before the visit of the general at the affected area, the respective counties, and also what is required of a general of that nature to go into such area, what is required of the preparation and the deliberate plan. But in terms of having had experiences that as a head of disaster in Kenya and an experienced officer in the National Police Service, I would like to say the following. The current...
All right, thank you so much for that. We do really appreciate your sentiments, and of course coming all along to discuss about the life and times of the late CDF, that is General Ogolla, and of course the entire team and the country. We are really saying rest in peace. Many thanks for joining us from wherever you've been talking to us from, that is from Kakamega. And of course, let me just read a few comments from Facebook. James says, watching from Timbuktu, Mamboleo, many thanks for watching. Tashley Phils says they're watching from Kisumu, and of course the place where we had the main event, and of course that and much more. The comments coming in, thank you so much for watching, and those that made the discussion a success, we are saying many thanks. We'll be having a more discussion on that as we feature the life and the times of the late CDF Ogolla. May his soul rest in peace. My name is John Matava. Many thanks for watching. Please do have a very fantastic good night.
University of Kenya, which was chartered on the 3rd of August 2023, aims to revolutionize higher education by breaking down barriers such as cost, previous exam grades, and geographical location through online open learning